in Ohio. Carpentier, meanwhile, was headed only while stationary for 3 brief pit stops, each time launched back into the lead by his Players Foresight crew. Cristiano Damata came to Ohio off 2 straight failures, hoping to protect his dwindling championship lead. When Dario Franchitti suffered a failure, his second in the title chase was also placed in jeopardy. Then the turning point of the race, as Damata's attack at Carpentier went wrong and the Brazilian spun off.
What did we say just a couple of laps ago? Don't make a mistake to try to take the lead. He's buried. He's buried.
Before the race, Carpentier promised to run naked if he won. One way or another, the new CART FedEx Championship threat is definitely on a streak. For the 21st year, the Champ Cars have come to the monster 4-mile loop of racetrack known as Road America. But before you can race the CART Grand Prix of Road America, you must qualify. We have a beautiful day as we get set for the first of 2 rounds of road course qualifying here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. But there is rain in the forecast, and that means this session will be extremely important. Let's get right to the pit lane and Derek Daly.
Bob, ask any driver what his favorite track in North America might be. Chances are he'll tell you Road America. And it might just be the sheer speed that cars attain here that makes it such a favorite. Lots happened in the last 20 years here at Road America. We've had 6 first-time winners. And if you look around here, this place has never looked better. And this weekend we have an intriguing championship fight, largely because of the things that Cristiano Damata has not been able to do in the last 3 races. With more on that, let's go down to Calvin Fish. Calvin.
Double D with 2 wins in the last 3 races. Patrick Carpentier has vaulted himself into second in points, just 27 behind Cristiano Damata. Now he must wish that every race was in the state of Ohio, as his 2 wins have come at Cleveland and Mid-Ohio. And he had further reason to celebrate this week with his 31st birthday on Tuesday. And whilst the Players team have celebrated the last few weeks, one team certainly has not. And their driver must now be hearing the footsteps of the other drivers over his shoulder. For more on that, let's go down to Scott Pruitt.
Thanks, Calvin. Cristiano Damata and Newman Haas have shown nothing but dominance from early on this year, even in preseason testing. But in the last 3 weeks, no points. A chink in the armor? Perhaps. Think of it as a pack of wild dogs and a 3-legged cat. These guys have got to get their luck turned around. Are they feeling the heat from everybody else? I'd say so. 2 mechanical failures, and last weekend, an off-track excursion. They have to get things turned around at Elkhart Lake this weekend. Bob, Tommy?
All right, thank you, Scott. Here's a look at what Scott Pruitt was talking about. A few weeks ago, Cristiano Damata had a 50-point lead on the field and was running away. Right now, that lead is down to 27 points over the hottest driver in the CART FedEx Championship Series right now, Patrick Carpentier. We welcome you to the announce booth here at Road America. I'm Bob Varsha along with Tommy Kendall. Let's go no farther before we congratulate our colleague Scott Pruitt on a great 6th place finish in the NASCAR Winston Cup race at Watkins Glen last week. Now, Tommy, coming into Mid-Ohio last week, the big news was that bruise on Adrian Fernandez's butt. Coming out, the question was, where was Patrick Carpentier's?
Well, good question. Now, from a guy who's been on the losing end of a few bets, that was a very weak payoff. As you said, we saw more cheek out of Adrian than we did out of Patrick. Speaking of Adrian, here you have a good shot. Now, it's not a particularly pretty view, but if you're going to go naked, our female fans say, give us naked. Speaking of Adrian, another big story out of Mid-Ohio was Max Pappas subbing for the injured Adrian Fernandez, and would Adrian be back? Adrian was in the car this morning, and everybody's wondering, is his bruised body going to be up to the pounding here at Elkhart Lake? Not as bad as Mid-Ohio, but we'll be following that story closely.
And Adrian Fernandez was in the car for first practice. He's doing very well, as we'll tell you more about at a moment. But right now, the big story is Tony Kanaan and that wing failure he suffered in the morning practice. The team has looked it over, and they think things are okay. Kanaan thinks they better be sure. Speed Channel's coverage of the CART FedEx Championship Series is brought to you by FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series. By Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. And by Bridgestone, advanced technology that gives you a grip on the future. Welcome back to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We are now on the clock. Green flag, almost 2.5 minutes into this 1-hour session. No cars on track right now. Let's take a look at this circuit, Tommy.
And Derek touched on it. The reason, in addition to the speed, is this track is what these cars were built for. Really high speeds, hard braking, slow corner sweepers. 3 G's of longitudinal braking force heading down into turn 5 at the end of that second long straightaway. The kink, flat out, separates the men from the boys. With the reduced boost, it's not quite as tough flat out even on used tires now, but definitely an attention getter. And Elkhart Lake, it's one of the picturesque circuits. Even when you're out there driving, you're struck by the natural beauty, and all the European racers that come here say it's the most like a European circuit anywhere in the States.
Here's a look at the morning practice times. The lap record is 1 minute 39.866 seconds. Last year, Kenny Breck was the pole sitter. This year, he was the fastest man in the morning session. Dario Franchitti is a former winner here, and there is Adrian Fernandez back in the car, injuries and all, third quick in the morning session. Tony Kanaan 7th, despite that big off when the rear wing failed. More on that in a moment. Patrick Carpentier, 12th quick, followed by Jimmy Vasser and Bruno Junqueira. Lots of drivers using their backup cars, noted with the X. Cristiano D'Amata, as you see, his backup car dead last in the morning session. Now let's take another look at what happened with Tony Kanaan this morning, Tommy.
And this is just a driver's worst nightmare, a mechanical failure, and obviously everything turned out okay, but I would not be surprised if he bit a hole in the bottom of the seat when the old sphincter slammed shut, because that one is just terrifying.
Let's hear from him now with Derek Daly.
And Tony Kanaan, we usually see a big smile on his face. It's a little bit forced, Tony, today. That was a very scary moment. Did it scare you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I didn't know what happened. I'm coming down the straightaway, and I see my car making a lot more speed. So I'm looking at my dash, where we have the lights on. I'm like, okay, this is a good lap. I must have made the last corner pretty well because I'm hitting the limiter and everything. And as soon as all of a sudden I get to break into turn 1, and the car started to spin at 192 miles an hour, and it wasn't nice. And when I stopped, I didn't know what happened. I was like, come on, I didn't break that deep, what happened? And I look, and then I saw my rear wing landing on the floor.
Tony, at that type of speed, when you go to the brake zone, you realize you are going off the racetrack. Do you brace yourself? Do you get scared? Do you know you're scared? Do you know you're in deep trouble?
Well, the speeds that I left the track, I knew I would be in trouble. So I said, let's hope for the best now. And happened so quick, Derek, that I would say I start to look around and see I was actually worried to get my car flipped over in the gravel trap. And so I tried to make as straight as possible, and I got in. And when I saw I was going to go and hit with the front of the car, I just took my hands out of the steering wheel to don't damage anything and rest my head in my red arrest and said, okay, please, whatever it is, let's hope for the best.
But it's fair to say, despite that, you're ready to rock right now, right?
Oh yeah, you see now we do it again. Not the same thing, but we do it the same lap time I was doing. I was first at the time, so unfortunately we lost a lot of time in practice. So I've done only 10 laps total. So let's see what we can do. But I'm ready to go again.
It's always amazing how incidents like that, for a racing driver, he can literally close the door, forget about it, and get back in and go even faster. It's amazing, Bob.
I think we can call it courage, Derek. Here's a look at our coverage plans for the weekend. In addition to today's qualifying, we have Kart Friday night. Derek Daly hosting from the legendary Seepkins. You want to check that out at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Then on Saturday, live coverage of the second round of qualifying at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Will it rain or won't it? We'll find out. On Sunday, the Trans Ams coming your way at 12 p.m. Eastern Time from right here at Road America, followed by the Toyota Atlantic Championship Series Round 10 of 12 at 1:30 Eastern Time. And then our live coverage of the Kart Grand Prix of Road America beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, with the race flagging off at 3 p.m. There is Patrick Carpentier, the man of the hour. We'll be back in a moment to watch him qualify.
I don't know what happened with Cristiano. I brake really deep. I'm sorry if I did something, but hey, we got a lot of points and 2 victories. Fantastic.
That was Patrick Carpentier talking about the incident last week at Mid-Ohio in which Cristiano D'Amato went off track. Carpentier went on to win the race. Welcome back to qualifying at Road America. Still no cars on track. Bob Barsha along with Tommy Kendall. Tommy, let's talk a little bit about that incident between D'Amato and Carpentier. Listening to Carpentier speak, it sounds like maybe he thinks he has something to apologize for.
Well, the fact that he apologizes tells me he has a pretty good idea what happened to D'Amato. Now, D'Amato made a mistake, no question about it, but it was not nearly as simple as that. When we left there, everybody says, oh, the guy just threw it away. But we're going to show you a couple different views. He did not get sucked in too deep under braking. We have on the left a regular lap, on the right the lap in question. You will see he brakes and downshifts at the exact same spot. The only thing different is Patrick is in his way. How did he get there? He put himself there. Roll the tape and listen to the braking. When he got close to Patrick, he lost downforce and couldn't get the car stopped. Now, this is a lap earlier in the session when Patrick was not under pressure, and those 3 arrows show 3 cones, a single, a double, and a triple cone on the right. Now, watch, he turns in at the last cone, the single cone, on a normal lap when he's not under pressure. Roll it through. That's where he turns in for that corner. Now, on the lap in question, he turns in just past the 3rd cone. Cristiano has jogged to the right. Now, Patrick tries to defend and puts a pretty good block on Cristiano. Cristiano loses his downforce, can't get it stopped. There is the old turn-in point. He's turned in about 100 feet before that to try to take away some of the angle. So again, Cristiano made a mistake. He should have allowed for that. But it's not as simple as that. It brings up the question of blocking. It's an accepted part of this sport. But what if it wasn't? Would we have been treated to a scene there like Villeneuve and Arnoux at Dijon, going side by side for corner after corner? In an era where fans are starved for side-by-side racing and passes for the lead, how you get rid of the blocking would be a bumpy road, but I think the payoff would be worth it.
Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the afternoon, and I think another of the racers on staff, Scott Pruitt, has a different thought. Scotty?
I think Tommy's crazy. I mean, yeah, in theory, there's a lot of these things that have the potential of doing, but when you have these cars this close and these guys that want to win these races, in fact, you look at that move, it's even hard to say that he's blocked him. I just think that when you start having this much intervention from a governing body, you're just asking for trouble. If it's something very, very blatant, yes, these guys have got to be called on the carpet and parked in a penalty box. But if they aren't, if it's just a little move like what happened, I think it's very difficult even to make that call.
How did I know you were going to say that, Scott? I know that because I followed you. You did that to me for 30 laps at Detroit in 1994.
And you would have done the same thing.
All right, guys, let me step in between here. Calvin Fish is standing by with Patrick Carpentier.
Patrick, the boys are fighting up there. TK thinks there was some form of blocking there at Mid-Ohio. Scott Pruitt thinks he's crazy. What happened out there with Cristiano and yourself?
Hey, TK, I don't know where you were racing before, but man, if that's a form of blocking, you must have been in a different league. But no, it was a good race. I just brake pretty deep. I moved a little bit, but not too much. Some of the guys move a lot more than that. I gave Cristiano, I think, a fair shot and an opening there, so it worked out pretty well for us.
When you left Toronto, I mean, you were so disappointed with the progress of the season, and you guys have absolutely turned this thing around. Ford have worked hard, but 2 wins in the last 3 races. I mean, Ohio's been kind to you.
It's been very kind. I mean, the team's done a fantastic job. The pit stop were fast, and what was important at Mid-Ohio was to come out in front in the pit stop, and the guys did a good job there, and the car was fast, and we had a really, really good weekend. I haven't had one like that since I'm in kart, so I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy running around after that, but hey, I had to do it. I promised it.
Tommy said that was a half-assed actual streak. He's been with a lot of women, and they know naked that wasn't naked. But you haven't signed up with players. There's a lot of word out there about where you may be next year. Can you give us any update on your position with the ride for 2003?
It looks like we're right on target. It should be a cool year. We got a Newman helping us, so that's the answer.
He's not giving anything away, guys. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks.
All right, thanks very much. Patrick Carpentier has a lot going on this weekend, obviously, and a lot more next weekend when he will be the man of the hour, along with his teammate Alex Tagliani, when we journey for the first time with the Champ Cars to the Formula One Gilles Villeneuve circuit in Montreal. That was Patrick Carpentier back in '96, winning in the Toyota Atlantic Championship en route to the title. We'll be there Friday on the Ile Notre Dame at the St. Lawrence River for qualifying at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, live here on Speed. followed by Kart Friday night, that night at 10:30 Eastern. Saturday, more live qualifying at 1:30 Eastern, and the Kart Grand Prix of Montreal. Live pre-race coverage at 1:30 Eastern. The race itself beginning at 2, followed by the Toyota Atlantics. Stay with us. Same instant, his teammate's car does the same. End of day. And then at Mid-Ohio, as we mentioned a moment ago, this altercation with race leader Patrick Carpentier, loss of front-end downforce. D'Amata winds up in the gravel trap. He would come back to finish the race, but in 13th place outside the point-scoring finishes. Now let's look at the last 3 races and how the top drivers stack up. Patrick Carpentier with 2 wins in those 3 races has a total of 54 points. Michael Andretti 38. Cristiano D'Amata, who had some 50-point lead in the championship coming into that run of 3 races, has scored just 4 in those weekends. And there is Cristiano D'Amata. Let's hear from him now.
Cristiano, the last 3 weeks, 3 races, no points. Last weekend, a bit of a controversy. What exactly happened between you and Pat?
Actually, I see no controversy at all in the thing. I was just trying to stick my nose in there to bother him as much as I could, try to force him to make a mistake, which he never did. I actually made it for him. As I was alongside him, not alongside him, I was a car length behind. He moved over a little bit. As he moved over, I wasn't trying to pass him by that time, but he cut my air, and as I was braking on the edge and he cut my air, I just lost the downforce and just spun. Maybe shouldn't be that close, maybe should be settling for second. Would be easier for the championship, definitely.
Now, we're talking about the championship and all the points you've given up in the last 3 races, but you clearly have shown the speed. What's it going to take to turn things around here at Elkhart Lake?
Well, just need to take a normal, conservative weekend, just so we start to build up the momentum again, and then go from there. Because I think once we finish one, which I think is going to be this weekend, I think everything is going to start coming our way again.
Well, good luck. Cristiano and Newman Haas certainly want to get things turned around here this weekend. Guys?
Now you can understand that. And there is the other story from the Mid-Ohio weekend we talked about. Adrian Fernandez, who had that huge accident in the closing laps at Vancouver, suffered injuries to his pelvis and his right hip that kept him out of the car last weekend. This weekend he is back, and back with a vengeance. 3rd quick in the morning practice. Calvin Fish.
Well, I just had a quick chat with Adrian, asked him how he feels in the car. He said there's a little bit of pain, but he said, as you know, the adrenaline takes over. He's glad to be back. They've had Max Pappas standing by. The goal coming in here was to see how Adrian felt when he got some laps in the car, and then Max would jump into the car if he wasn't able to make it. But they ran the practice session, as you mentioned, Bob, 3rd fastest this morning. He loves Elkhart Lake. He's finished on the podium 3 times in the last 3 years.
All part of his top 5 finishes in his 5 visits to this great racetrack. They're on track. Michael Andretti. Mario Dominguez has already logged in provisional pole at 1 minute 52.358 seconds, averaging nearly 130 miles per hour. You ride with Michael Andretti, a 2-time pole sitter here. That is Canada corner, up under the Billy Mitchell Bridge. And up to turn 14. This is where the cars are timed, not at the start-finish line. 3 career victories here.
Lap. Quick time is 49.7 for Dominguez.
2 laps in the books, and Michael is still P2 to Dominguez by 0.03 of a second. Michael working lap number 3. There is Adrian Fernandez using a crutch to get to the race car. He'll be on track in a moment. We'll want to see how he did, so stand by. We'll take a quick break and be back with more of qualifying for the Kart Grand Prix of Road America. Welcome back to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin in the first round of qualifying for the Motorola 220 part of the Kart Grand Prix of Road America weekend. I'm Bob Varsha with Tommy Kendall, Scott Pruitt, Derek Daly, and Calvin Fisher in the pit lane. And Patrick Carpentier, winner of 2 out of the last 3 races, is all over the track as he struggles to put a time on the board. This is his 4th lap, and one that I think he expected a lot out of. He is currently 7th of the 12 cars who have posted times in a big burst of activity on track. His teammate Alex Tagliani is the provisional pole sitter. Now we go on board with Michael Andretti, who had a taste of provisional pole, but has now been bumped all the way down to 6th. The Andretti family has their own personal chapter in the history of this great racetrack. Look at Mario and Michael's record. 3 victories apiece, along with 3 poles for father Mario, 2 for son Michael. And on this weekend, the newest generation of Andrettis has rolled out. For the first time, Michael's son Marco, right there, is on hand to watch his father in action at Road America and to race himself. He's a rising star in the go-karting series that is racing this weekend at the new Briggs & Stratton Motorplex, a beautiful world-class karting facility. Marco has already won once in the Car Stars of Tomorrow series. There is Adrian Fernandez, currently shown 3rd in the provisional order at 144.720, over 139 miles an hour. This was Adrian just a few moments ago, getting the left side wheels off.
And that's the racing version. You saw that whole extra patch of concrete outside the alligator teeth. It's our version of if you build it, they will come. If you put the pavement out there, the guys will find it. The problem comes when that pavement ends, and he was way out there trying to ease it back on and just went bombing right across that patch of grass and dirt to get back to the racing surface. A little bit of a scary ride, but you won't see too many guys giving it up. If one guy does it, everybody has to do it.
Derek Daly has more on Fernandez.
Bob, we saw the graphic pictures of Adrian's injury, particularly the bruising, and so many people ask, how can racing drivers that are that severely injured get back into a racing car and be fast again? One of the unusual things I found when I was seriously injured back in 1984, driving the racing car was easier than walking. Because when you walk, you have to bear the weight of your body on the joints. When you sit into a racing car, there is no weight bearing on the joints, which means you simply move your feet in small increments. So without the weight bearing, the pain, most of the pain went away. Therefore, you could get back into a racing car despite the fact that you need crutches just to get into it. Remarkable, really, what racing drivers can do.
No question about it, Derek. There is a look at the top 10 to the left of your screen. The yellow arrows mean that driver is in the pits, not on track. And there is your current provisional pole sitter, Oriol Servia, at 1 minute 44.291 seconds, 139.732 miles per hour in average speed. Less than 22.5 minutes remaining in the session. Scott Pruitt.
Following up on Adrian Fernandez, I had a chance to talk to his left front tire guy, Snooze. I said, how's he doing out there? He goes, you know what? He's complaining less than usual. He's good to go. Bob, Tommy?
Thank you, Scott. One thing you notice about the top 4 there, Servia, Tagliani, Carpentier, Takagi, all in Reynard chassis.
And you saw Carpentier jump up to P3 and then pit. That shows that this session is a little bit different with the timing line in turn 14A. You can finish a lap and then duck into the pits right away for a change without having to do a whole cool-off lap. It also means that the session's not over when the checker comes out. The timing line is right there. So you'll see guys even altering their line, and they'll bomb the corner and just to get to the timing line, even if it really messes up their exit, the exit's not important. As long as they get to the line, you'll see some guys do some crazy things. They have a rule in the rule book. If your transponder doesn't get across the line, obviously you don't get scored. But if you want to go all 4 wheels off, as long as your transponder hooks that electronic strip going off the road and it counts, it's clean.
We'll try to follow this whole lap with the series leader, Cristiano D'Amata. Notice the top 10 continues to shuffle. Toru Takagi at the top now. Here comes turn 5. Watch how late he brakes. Here comes Hurry Downs, rushing down to turn 8. Now the carousel. Here comes the kink. Next up, Canada corner. Billy Mitchell Bridge.
Watch the scoring update. Didn't crack the top 10.
D'Amata 146.394, 136.970 miles per hour. So Alex Tagliani back at the top of the charts. Once again, the yellow arrow means he is in the pits. There is the provisional pole sitter. We'll take a break and be right back to Road America.
Bruno to probably finish this lap off and head for the pits. Cristiano might do the same, but this probably ought to be Cristiano's peak lap, lap 4.
Tagliani, Junqueira, D'Amata, Takagi. All 4 drivers under the quickest lap we saw in this morning's practice. Kenny Brack, the fastest man in that session, currently shown 13th, a full second off of what he was able to do this morning, but he is just coming up to speed on his first set of hot laps. Once again, the yellow arrow in the top 10 graphic to the left of your screen means that driver is in the pits, typically after completing his first hot lap. They can do that because they do not cross the start-finish line to take their time. The timing stripe once again down in turn 14, right here. And Junqueira goes to the top, 142.884, 141.6 miles an hour in average lap speed.
Junqueira's fast lap came on lap 6. This is D'Amata's 5th lap. The all-important air pressures in the tire so that they get to the exact right spring rate so that the tire is tuned in line with the rest of the suspension to optimize the aero load. These cars are basically inverted flying wings. So between the spring rate of the tire, the ride height, spring rate on the chassis, the third spring, all those things combined try to keep the car at that optimum angle of attack and ride height for as much of the lap as possible.
This is last year's pole sitter, Kenny Brack. The target, Chip Ganassi Racing. He'll hit the timing line in just a moment, and he's being ordered to the pits.
Currently, Bruno's quickest at a 2.8. Tagliani 3.1. D'Amata 3.5. That's the top
Brack
3.
146.477. His best lap 144.995 leaves him 13th. Adrian Fernandez has completed his first set. Derek Daly is there.
Quick update, Bob. Don Halliday, his partner, said he is physically fine. He said he's getting back into the swing of qualifying, having missed that one race. He said Tracy cost him time on that first run. They've just put a second set of stickers on.
Cristiano D'Amata off and on P2 for the points leader. 143.156. So it is now Lola, Reynard. Toyota, Ford, Honda. We'll take a break. I make that Ford, Toyota. We'll take a break and be right back. I have to get that right.
With all the buzz surrounding the Buell Firebolt XB9R, the lines on the showroom floors are starting to wind around the corner. Once again, it's all about the corners. Hurry into your Buell dealer today.
Speed Channel coverage of the Kart FedEx Championship Series is brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. And by Circuit City. We know the excitement you feel about the latest digital toys. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you. Welcome back to the first round of qualifying at Road America. Don't forget, Saturday and Sunday nights, Speed Channel brings you Speed News. Dave Despain and Ralph Shaheen will be your hosts this weekend. Speed News Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Sunday, we split the difference. NASCAR edition for the first 30 minutes beginning at 7 Eastern, followed by all the news and highlights from the rest of the motorsports world on Speed News Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Speed News only on Speed Channel. There's Tora Takagi, who had a taste of provisional pole and is currently 5th for car owner Derek Walker. This is a Reynard Toyota combination, like all the other cars in the series, on Bridgestone Potenza racing radials. Down through the kink. All 18 drivers are on track right now. There is Bruno Junqueira, currently the provisional pole sitter, at 1 minute 42.884 seconds, 143.643 miles per hour. Calvin Fish.
Bruno just made a pit stop. He's out there on his second run right now, Bob, and they actually stiffened up the front bar. I spoke to Ricky Davies. I said, is the car loose? He said, no, actually, it's pushing. So normally when you stiffen up, you're trying not to get as much grip on the front end, but he said the track has picked up so much grip through the carousel, the car is literally falling over, so they're trying to actually stabilize the platform through there, and exit speed of the carousel is key to a quick lap around here. Let's go down to Scott.
Almost the same thing down here. Team Cool Green and Patrick Racing. All of them complaining about the same thing. Oriol, Franchitti, and Tracy. Too much mid to exit push. They're all having the same problem, but they're trying to solve it different ways. Oriol with springs, and two cool cars are trying to work on putting more front wing. Either way, they're trying to reduce mid to exit understeer. Guys?
All right, thanks very much. You're on board with Dario Franchitti, currently shown 12th on the track where he picked up his first Kart FedEx Championship Series victory.
Mid-corner understeer is often the limiting factor here. It's exacerbated by the really hard braking. There's so much time to be gained under braking. The guys really arrive at the corner, maybe carrying a little bit more speed. So the more you can get that front to tuck, like this part of the corner right through here, the quicker you can go. And usually a little gain at one track might yield a tenth or two. Here, because there's so many corners, a little improvement can often yield a half a tenth or half a second or more without making the car that much better.
You notice no yellow arrows on our top 10 graphic. All these drivers are on track. In fact, the only two in the pits right now are Mario Dominguez, who has used up his 15 allowable laps, and Tony Kanaan, dead last in the field. More bad luck for the Brazilian. Just 3 laps, and he's having electrical problems. Calvin?
Tony, let's get a quick word with you. The crash this morning, you switched to the backup car, but electrical issues?
Yeah, it seems to not work, and well, I don't know what to say, Calvin. I think
it's been a frustrating season for you, Tony. I know every week you keep coming back with renewed enthusiasm, and you keep getting bitten, but today was important. There's a chance of rain tomorrow.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up like that, man. I'm trying, and obviously people are not trying hard enough, or they don't know what they're doing, so they have a bigger problem than that. I'm gonna keep up, and tomorrow is another day. I'll be up, and but let's see. I'm gonna have to try again.
Well, you can really tell how the season's been going. A man of Tony Kanaan's character, when he's that depressed after a session, tells you what it's all about, guys.
There are questions about where Tony Kanaan's future might take him. I think you can hear his frustration with his team in his answer. We'll be back in a moment with more from Road America.
Express pickup. Wow, what a time.
Welcome back to Road America. There's Patrick Carpentier, winner of 2 of the last 3 races in the Kart FedEx Championship. He has pulled off at turn 5 without power. Currently shown 14th on the provisional grid. This is not a track that's been kind to the Canadian. There he is in replay, coming down to turn 5. And going straight off, engine silent. 5 career appearances here at the track. His best is only a 9th place finish. 2.5 minutes to go in the session now. On board with Cristiano Damata, currently 2nd. Ahead of him, Bruno Junqueira. Behind him, Alex Tagliani. Oriol Servia has jumped up to 4th. Scott Dixon is 5th. Then Michael Andretti, Christian Fittipaldi, Tora Takagi, Adrian Fernandez, and Kenny Brack, last year's pole sitter. 1:43.192, just 0.04 of a second off of his best lap. D'Amato remains P2.
And he will have 2 more laps. He'll get back around within about, I think, 10 seconds before the checker comes out. So he will have 2 more full, actually maybe 3 more full laps.
Stay with us beyond the checkered flag. On a 4-mile loop like this one, it takes a while to find out which guys on hot laps have a shot at the pole.
Fernandez sliding up into 6th. Paul Tracy popping into 4th.
And no yellow arrows. All of those top 10 are on track, as well as most of the drivers behind them in the standings. There's Alex Tagliani, currently 3rd. Behind him, Adrian Fernandez. What a great sound, the way the noise of these turbocharged 2.65 liter engines reverberates off the trees. Dirt down there on the back straight, headed to Canada Corner. Somebody got their wheels off. This is D'Amato.
See the dirt on the exit of all the corners from guys running off the edge of the curbs, coming to the line.
An improvement to 1:42.912 seconds, a 1/10 of a second. Well, actually less than that, 0.03 of a second off of Bruno Junqueira's provisional pole.
He'll have this lap and 1 more. You saw he made it past the start-finish with about 15 seconds to spare. These guys will not. The checker will be out now.
Paul Tracy braking to allow Tagliani through. A 1:43.220, not good enough for Tagliani to move up from 3rd.
Good try, Alex. Good try.
The question is, how far might he fall to the cars currently on hot laps, such as this man?
He'll know from his dash exactly where he is relative to his best time, at least, which is only a couple tenths off Bruno's. Bruno just lowered his time further to 1:42.744, 0.15 ahead of Cristiano. So they're dueling it out, even though the checker is out.
Here's Franchitti climbing the hill to the Mitchell Bridge. More dust hanging in the air. Oh, giving it everything.
That's an example of braking later. It moved him up to P3. Braked later, turned in early, knowing he was going to run out of road, but just hoping he'd get across the stripe. And he did. Now let's watch Cristiano. See, he can go 1 more still.
And he does it. 1:42.640. D'Amato to the top of the charts. And that all-important provisional pole championship point and guaranteed front row spot on the grid for tomorrow's race. And if it rains tomorrow, it doesn't matter. We'll take a quick break and return to sum things up. Stay with us for more from Road America. Championship Series is brought to you by FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series. By BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by Bridgestone, advanced technology that gives you a grip on the future. Back at Road America, there's Jimmy Vasser's shell car being towed away on his last lap of qualifying, trying to hoist himself up into the top 10. He suffered a spin down coming off of Canada Corner. Tommy?
And it happens real late in the exit, almost like the traction control shut off. Maybe not. There is a slick. It does get slick right on the exit, just past midway through the corner.
And Vasser finishes the day in 14th. Let's get down to Derek Daly with our provisional pole sitter.
And they say timing is everything. Cristiano D'Amato, the timing was perfect to put you back on top again.
Yeah, it was very, very good day for us. We started the day not that fast. Made a couple of changes to the afternoon. The car was quite a bit better. very, very happy to be back on track, to be scoring another point, guaranteed spot on the front row. This means a lot to the team, starting building our momentum again.
Thank you, Cristiano. Carl Haas came over to him and gave him a cigar, but he told him you cannot use the cigar until you win on Sunday. Calvin?
Derek, Bruno Junqueira is the defending champion here. You're on the front row at the moment, Bruno, but you think you have a much faster race car than was shown today.
Yeah, sure. On the first set, I was on the pole, and second set, I put a little bit less fuel on the car, and then I got some traffic on the early laps. And when I did my best lap, the tire wasn't on the temperature yet. Then I had to come in. I felt that I had more to come, but shame.
Well, he's pretty disappointed here. Rain helped him out last year, win the race. Maybe rain tomorrow will keep him on the front row. For more news, let's go down to Scott.
Adrian Fernandez, big crash, a lot of pain, a lot of injury from Vancouver. Sitting at home last week having to watch why Max subbed for you. This weekend, it looked like he had a lot of pain getting out, but fourth place. Great job.
Definitely. Well, first I have to thank Max to help us last weekend, you know, in difficult circumstances. He's a gentleman, and he was here to take our spot in case I didn't manage to stay on the car because of pain or whatever. But thank you for Max. And here, yeah, it's pain. The fractures are on the left side, the hairline fracture on the left side. So there's some pain in some specific, you know, like the carousel and the king. And, you know, even though you want to relax on the car, sometimes you just can't relax. I mean, especially when you're going that fast. So that tension, it hurts a little bit on the left side. But I'm doing a lot of therapy here with the eyes and, you know, stretching. My muscles are so stiff that it's difficult. So it's a little bit difficult to get in on the car and getting out. But once I'm staying there, I think it's sort of okay.
Well, best of luck for tomorrow. See how he does in the race. Let's go back to the booth. Bob, Tommy.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Here's a look at the provisional standings with another round of qualifying to come. Final thoughts, TK?
It doesn't get any better than that for me. Elkhart Lake, Blue Skies, Bratwurst, Corn, a classic qualifying duel. Guys bombing the line in turn 14. I can't wait for tomorrow.
And we'll see what the weather holds. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the final round of qualifying. Don't forget, tonight it's Kart Friday night at 10:30 Eastern, and tomorrow live qualifying at 2:30. For Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, Calvin Fish, and Scott Pruitt, I'm Bob Varsha. Until Kart Friday night and on to tomorrow's qualifying, so long from Road America.